In Ezekiel chapter 18, verse 4, it says, "Behold, all souls are mine. The soul of the Father, as well as the soul of the Son, is mine. The soul who sins shall die." So here God shows that it doesn't matter who it is. Whoever is sinning, they will die. In Ezekiel chapter 18, verse 14, it says, "If however he begets a son, who sees all the sins which his father has done, and considers, but does not do likewise, who has not eaten on the mountains, nor lifted his eyes to the idols of the house of Israel, nor defiled his neighbor's wife, has not oppressed anyone, nor withheld a pledge, nor robbed by violence, but has given his bread to the hungry, and covered the naked with clothing, who has withdrawn his hand from the poor, and not received usury of increase, but has executed my judgments, and walked in my statutes, he shall not die for the iniquity of his father, he shall surely live." The son who saw what his father was doing, but he didn't walk in his steps. He did what was right. His father was offering to the idols. He didn't do it. His father was an oppressor. He didn't do it. Even though he might have been raised up to be that way, he didn't do it. God says, well, he will not die, for he did not do what his father had done. Even though we may have been raised a certain way, we're raised in a family of racists, of selfish people, oppressive people, violent people, people that tended to do what was wrong. That's no excuse as though we're going to get away with it and give the excuse because I was raised that way. That's not going to be a good excuse. We don't just say, well, we were raised in this religion. I was born a Baptist, I'm going to die a Baptist. We don't do that. Even though they're raised Islam, Catholic, Baptist, whatever you've been raised, is to analyze what we were taught and then examine it based on what God says. People in the Watchtower, they get very offended if they find out one of their children deviates from the Watchtower. And that deviation is only good when you are examining and you find out the reality that they're not sticking to the truth. These false religions out today, when you do this type of inventory that obviously someone of Ezekiel 18 had to do, and you start to identify the bad ways that your family religion was going, and then you start doing what's right, well, they're going to try to suppress that truth. They're going to try to cut your family off. They're going to try to get your family to have that feeling of no natural affection, as the Bible says. You cannot believe something just because it's something that is part of family ritual or family relationships or connected with the family in any way. You have to be able to analyze it and to see if it's acceptable to God. So your parents may want to cling on to that false religion. Well, that's their business. That's what they want to do. That's what they do. But if you want to be pleasing to God, you can't be so captivated. You cannot be so in chains. You have to be willing to be analyzing these things under the spiritual microscope and see if they're approved by God. And by doing so, you'll be like this son here in Ezekiel 18 that will not be charged with those sins, but will have God's approval when the day of judgment comes.